Welcome back to another video, guys, and today we have an interview with the community manager for the Walking Dead Our World. Sam is here with me.
What's up, Payne? How's it going?
It's going great, man. How are you doing?
I'm good.
So yeah, we have around 24 questions to ask him. A lot of questions coming from Reddit, Discord, Facebook, and around other social medias as well. So without further ado, are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Bring it
Okay. So the first question is, are there any plans to have different challenges or challenges that rotate if you're staying on the same tier?
There are, yeah. At the moment, we've kind of got the guild boards set up, or the group boards, whatever you want to call them, so that each tier is its own unique thing. But we have big plans in the future for shifting that system. Maybe not entirely, and I'm not going to say too much about what the plans are right now. But we know that people don't like getting stuck on the same tiers, particularly when you're getting near the top and it's pretty tough. You might be somewhere for a few weeks, and we want to make that experience way more dynamic. So we do have plans for that, and we are going to bring in a system, hopefully not too far off in the future, where people will have a bit more variation each week.
Okay, so moving on, do you have any plans to add more story missions to the game? You know, those journal pages that are in the beginning of the game that people actually like?
Sure, I think we've got about 50 of them now, maybe in the game. I'm not too sure exactly how many there are, and we definitely want to add more in because we've heard the feedback and we know that people like them. It's something to focus on when you're not playing with your group in the boards, or if you just want to break from the boards for a little while. So I think we will be adding some in. I don't think that that's going to come very soon, because our focus is kind of on the core game rather than the little side pieces like the story there. And we know that the boards are what people are really asking us for, so that's where our emphasis is at the moment.
Okay. Do you have any plans to show the radius and all the missions that a flare would reach before dropping the flare? Because, as you know, some players consider the flare to be like an expensive commodity, so...
Yeah, definitely. This is like something which has come up particularly recently as we've had bait released into the game. It would be really nice to understand exactly where you're going to drop your flare, because at the moment you have to kind of make an educated guess basically about what's going to be in the radius of the flare. It's something we know people want. I don't know when we're going to do it, but I would love to see it myself, because it's super frustrating when you miss the epic infestation or the season 9 mission or whatever it is that you've tried to share with your group, but you just accidentally put the flare in the wrong place. So
okay, so that is coming. And speaking of flares, some people are saying that it's too expensive in the shop, but then again 1 hour is too much of a duration. So maybe do you have any plans to like reduce the duration of the flare, let's say to half an hour, and cut the price down by half to 100 gold instead of 200? It's
an interesting question. I don't think at the moment we have any plans to change the ways that the flares are working. The hour is the thing that we started with, and the idea is that I guess you can have a respawn of raiders or whatever it is that you drop the flare off. So if you drop one flare, you can usually get a couple of battles in. So at the moment, no, we don't have any plans to change that.
Okay. And when are you actually going to release some new cards into the game? And also, if you're going to release new cards, is it going to be one at a time, or are you going to release a bunch all at once?
We typically have been releasing them one at a time. We just released the Guardian, the new sniper rifle, which has come. It's the kind of ultimate reward from the baits. It's the legendary, the new legendary, which is currently exclusive from the baits. I think we're gonna keep releasing them one by one for now. We might release more than one at a time. We've got something really exciting planned for Christmas already, but we are going to be seeing new cards before Christmas as well.
Okay. Do you have because in the shop we have the grenade option where you can spend 40 gold for 5 grenades?
Yeah.
But do you have any plans to sell larger grenade crates, let's say 100 gold for 30 grenades?
I would love to see that, yeah. I, particularly now that bait has been released, am burning through grenades at a ridiculous rate, and I would love to see more grenades available in a single purchase in the shop, because at the moment I'm going there, and if I want to buy 10, I got to buy that thing twice, and it's it's annoying basically. So I would love to see that. Yeah.
Okay. And now going to the guilds, do you have any plans to maybe like allow people to give guild gifts to each other, or maybe to like transfer resources? Let's say I have 300 first aid kits, but I wanna, my guildmate has 0, so I want to give him like 10, or maybe I want to give a flare to a guildmate for doing really well in performing for the challenges.
It's definitely a really cool idea, gifting. One thing which we're really happy to see is all of the social interaction that's going on in our world, like the bait parties that have been happening lately, and everyone using their flares, you know, to bring people in. So it's not out of the question that we would bring in other guild, you know, options such as, you know, gifting or something like that. That's one of those things that's probably going to be a little further down the line. The big thing that people are requesting in terms of the guild is the activity. So you can see when last logged in and so forth. We've seen some pretty fantastic spreadsheets from people. I don't know if your guild uses one, but like we've had some of the next games guilds using the spreadsheets, and like I think that's something that we need to address as well in the guilds. So I think gifting is probably a little further down the line, and we want to get the fundamentals done first.
Okay, so there is a possibility that it's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's not off the table. Yeah.
Okay. Completing 2 boards for a week, or have no social life. Do you have any plans to shorten the challenge playtime to maybe 5 days instead of 7, and have 2 days off instead of just like an 8-hour break?
It's a really interesting question, and I'd like to hear people's feedback. Are you going to post this on YouTube or something? I'd love to read the comments.
It's YouTube, Reddit is going everywhere.
Sure, yeah. I'd love to hear some feedback on people's opinions on this. Obviously, if we did change the times of the guild boards, then it would fundamentally change quite a lot of our world, because currently we're used to the 6 days and 12 hours-ish board length. And what we've seen when we've had periods where we've had a longer or a shorter break in between the boards is we know that people don't want to feel obligated to play all the time, but we also don't want people to feel like there's nothing for them to do when they do play. So at the moment we're really happy with the 6.5 days board and the quite short rest, but I would really like to hear feedback on kind of people's opinions on that.
Okay. And so based on the feedback, you can obviously make changes in future.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're always really happy to hear feedback, like from the Reddit, from, you know, comments on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, wherever it is that you want to kind of send it to us. It's always something that we take into consideration. That's not to say that we're necessarily going to act upon that feedback, but it's something that we look at on a daily basis. That's why my job exists, basically, is to make sure that somebody's looking at the feedback and making sure that the development team understand what it is that the players are kind of, you know, asking for. Are you guys having fun? And that's the main thing. Okay.
Now moving on from challenges, weekly boards, let's talk about some upcoming big feature everyone has been expecting and has been teased since the global launch of the game, and that is PvP. So can you tell us when this is coming?
I can't say exactly when PvP is coming. We are working on it, and we want it to be like the best possible experience, basically. Like, we promised baits, and we only just released baits. They had a little stumble in when we got them out to you guys, and we don't want that same thing to happen to PvP, which is why I don't want to put a date on it. But they're a really high priority for us, and we want to make sure that PvP is as good as it can possibly be before we release it. Because we don't want to deliver this feature that you guys are looking forward to a lot, and for it not to be up to the expectations that you guys have. So yeah, I can't give a date, but it's a really high priority. I can say.
What about a time window, or is that still not possible?
I really don't want to say, just in case.
Yeah,
it's something that we're working on. Where it's actively being worked upon. So it is something that we're developing. Like, as we speak, there are people in the game rooms downstairs, you know, working on this feature. But I don't want to say exactly. Okay. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. how is this PvP feature going to be different than all the other game modes right now, like baits, like the challenge boards? Are you going to be able maybe to contribute to challenge boards with PvP, or is that?
That's a very interesting question. I think we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How are free-to-play players going to manage to survive against pay-to-win players? Obviously, the pay-to-win players are going to have much stronger decks when it comes to PvP, and free-to-play players are going to struggle. Are you going to match them with other free-to-play players, or how is that going to work?
I don't want to say too much, because without giving away what the kind of core gameplay of PvP will be like, it's hard to answer that question. But obviously that whether people, like the power of people's cards is something that we're going to take into account. There's no way that we will not think about that when the PvP matchmaking comes out, when it's released.
So high level players are gonna fight high level players, and low level players are gonna fight low level players.
You want to be the best, so it's not all about card strength. I mean, that there's going to be strategic elements to these things as well. So it may well be that you can do really well with cards that are slightly less powerful than your opponents, or whatever it might be. I'm probably giving away too much, but it's not going to be just a playground where somebody who's been playing the game for 6 months plays up against someone who's just joined the game.
Okay, sure. Nice. And moving away from PvP, so let's talk a bit about legendary cards. So free-to-play players who aren't in high challenge tiers, they hardly ever get legendary cards because they don't get them as guaranteed. They just play with luck, and not everyone is lucky. Some people have been playing for months and they still complain that they haven't even got one legendary card, while others just keep being lucky and they just stack up on tons of them, and are also in high challenge tiers, so they get guaranteed cards.
Sure.
So do you have any plans to add more ways to get legendary cards? More maybe guaranteed legendary cards?
Guaranteed legendary cards at the moment are kind of exclusive to the higher tiers of the guild board, and the reason that we've designed it that way is because we want the guild boards to be something that you're really proud of, that it's an achievement when you get to the top, and the rewards that you get from that are the best rewards. They're the coolest thing, basically, which I think people or players hopefully understand that. Bait is another way you can get legendary cards. I've seen an enormous amount of good stuff on social media and Reddit over the weekend and this week, with people having a lot of luck with the baits to get their legendaries. I think in terms of drops from the game, apart from the guaranteed legendaries from the boards each week, the bait chances of legendaries is higher than anywhere else, basically, in our world. It's certainly higher than safe houses and places like that. If you can push up into the higher levels and survive a lot of waves in bait. If you need to find that, by the way, then you can click on the little eye icon to open up the drop odds, and you can find the percentage chances in there, so you can figure out how far you wanna try and go. But other than that, we want the legendaries to be something where you want to get in your group and you want to earn them together. So I don't think that in the near future we're going to see any changes to that.
Okay. So another really interesting question, and something we've seen since the launch, global launch, but we never really got them. The two new walker types, the explosive walkers and the spiked Winslows walkers, aka Winslows. We've seen that those SMG and shotgun classes excel against them, but we never see them in the game. When are those coming in the game?
That is a good question. We've kind of been excited about those walkers for a long time, and how we can best use them in our world to make the gameplay as kind of dynamic and interesting as possible. They are not coming in the next update, I can say that. But we're going to do something really special with those walkers, because they're going to change the way that the game plays quite dramatically when you add in two types. Because at the moment we have the slim walkers, the heavy walkers, and the regular walkers, and the armored walkers. So if we add in two more, you can imagine it adds a lot more kind of versatility to the game, but it also makes we can have board tiles with these things. We can
Bates is going to be more interesting.
Exactly, Bates going to be really interesting with Winslow's inside, but yeah, it's going to change the game a lot, and we want to make sure that we use them in the most interesting
So
way
you're
possible.
going to add them in one update at a time, you won't add them both at once?
They might both come at once, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I would expect that we would add them one at a time, yeah.
Okay. And are you happy with how Bait is working now? There's a lot of players. It kind of improved the social experience. A lot of players gather around, even around the world, put drop baits, drop flares in guilds, then have
Yeah.
big baits parties. I personally did like a
Yeah.
big doom circle.
Yeah, I saw your bait party. It was cool.
The weekend ago. So it was really fun. And it's also a lot of like, because everyone keeps dropping baits, and literally for a couple of hours you just keep playing.
Yeah.
You finish on gas, so you have to stack up some gold. By the way, on that, you keep buying the energy plus the grenade bundle.
Yeah.
Keep buying baits, and it's just really fun. It really improves your walker kill counts as well. I went by 20,000 for like 2-3 hours. It was crazy, and
What's your high
it's
score?
really cool. It's really cool. My high score on the
Yeah.
baits around 600,000, but I only use a pistol. I never use SMG, that's why, yeah. 600,000 is my I got a bunch of legendaries, never got the Guardian rifle, so I'm pretty sad about it. But
Yeah, I mean, to answer the question, yeah, I'm incredibly happy with how baits are going. It's super cool to see everyone having the bait parties. That's something that kind of we hoped people would react like that and really enjoy it and really like jump in head first and you know, get in there and take down as many baits as possible. And like the response from the community exceeded our expectations. It's so nice to see when we've been working on a feature for so long, or any feature at all really. Whenever we release something new into the game, it's so nice to see the community reaction to it, because that's the reason that we make these things basically, is to kind of, you know, provide you guys with fun, and we're glad that one is giving you the fun.
Okay. And do you think you're going to make any changes to baits in future? Is there something that...
It's too soon to say. We released it about a week ago at this point, under a week ago, at the time of this recording anyway. And yeah, it's way too soon to say.
Okay, yeah, I get it. And it's also because it's a limited time event only.
It is a limited time event, yeah. It's only here for Halloween, and we're going to be seeing it again in future, excuse me, during other events.
Okay, that's cool.
So you won't have to wait, you know, too long before you see baits again. But yeah, it is limited time. But obviously we're going to take a look at you know, how the feedback is from the community after the event, and potentially, you know, make changes as a result of that.
Okay.
But we're very, very happy with how the Halloween event's gone.
Okay. So at higher tiers like 13, 14, 15, the game becomes too much of a grind, and obviously all people have personal lives as well. So do you have any plans to maybe allow more people in the guilds, or just shorten the walkers or the tasks, make them less hard, and making them like less time consuming?
We do have plans for the boards. Like I said at the beginning, or near the beginning, when we do that change, the kind of update to that structure, we know that in order to get to the top tiers, you have to do a lot. They are challenging. They're supposed to be challenging. That's why they're the top tiers. But when we introduce that system, you'll see some changes to the game, and I can't say any more than that at this point. But I'm really looking forward to that personally. My guild is currently on tier 12, and yeah, I'm excited to see what we've got in store.
Nice. Cool. So there is obviously something in the works that's coming to the, so that's gonna help people out.
Yeah.
So another interesting question is, do you have any plans to introduce raiders that need to be rescued, similarly to the normal survivors, but you have raiders that actually fight walkers, they damage them, maybe they give 2 points to housing space in houses instead of just normal 1?
I think it's a cool idea. We've definitely received a lot of feedback about the survivors that are inside the rescue missions.
About their gender.
Well, about their gender, yeah, some people think that they're both women. They're not. One of them is a man. We have a man and a woman in there, but we wanna have more survivors, because, you know, if you have 12 survivors following you and they're all the same, then it would be nice, basically, to have a little more variation there.
Nice graphics change.
Obviously, yeah, that would be great. But things like that aren't necessarily the top priority. What we want to provide when we're releasing updates and when we're releasing new content is new gameplay or improvements that are really significant to the way that you play our world. So just updating, you know, some of the survivors is really nice, and it's something that we want to do. But if it's a choice between making survivors look different and, you know, making PvP better, then we're going to pick PvP every time. So we probably won't see any changes to the survivors just yet. But that's a cool idea. I like the idea that the survivors might be less passive, because at the moment they kind of just stand there. Yeah. Which is fine. Yeah. But I would love to see them do a little bit of fighting.
What is the long-term plan for competitive guilds? You know, as you know, these guilds in the high tiers, they complete the challenges, they try to stay on top, but when they're not fighting each other, it's kind of like there is nothing, like they can't really prove who's the best in, you know.
Yeah, I think there's a quite interesting phenomenon happening at the moment on Reddit and also on various other channels, where guilds are organizing their own races, where they're starting from tier 1. Everyone will join a new guild, they'll purposefully go back to tier 1 of the boards, and then they'll race up to the top to see how quickly somebody can, one group can get from, you know, 1 to whatever number. So you have 4 weeks, you see how far you can get in 4 weeks. And that's super cool. It's really interesting to have that level of competition. And I think that at the moment we don't have, when you get to tier 15, that is the top, and I'm super impressed by the guilds who get up there. Well done to Pogo Squad for being the first one, I think. Were they the first one that you know of, Pogo Squad?
Pogo Squad, I think, were the first ones to reach the new tier 15, but I think maybe Frontline Force could have been the first one, tier 14. I don't know, because you kind of keep introducing like 2 tiers.
Yeah, we introduced new tiers and yeah.
But exactly. both guilds are really in basically the top. Yeah, I think Pogo Squad are in 15 for sure. They're destroying pretty much the competition.
Yeah, they are. They're amazing. It's amazing to see.
And I know that I've talked to a lot of the people there, so they kind of like do spend a lot of time in the game, so they're kind of really pushing forward.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. They're probably expecting to see like a change to be done with some competitiveness.
Yeah, I mean, like the social aspect, so they're working together as a group aspect of the game is fantastic. I love that. It's the thing that makes me play our world. I work on it all day and then I play it in the evening, because I really enjoy that, you know, playing with my guild. And if we can expand upon that and get guilds to, you know, compete or maybe collaborate with other groups. I keep swapping between guild and group. I'm very sorry about that. It's just a video game, you know, naming thing. But yeah, if we can get groups to kind of collaborate together somehow or compete against one another somehow, then that'd be amazing. And there are plans for this, which is what I was talking about at the beginning and then a little while ago. But I can't say what they are.
Okay.
Right now, so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. So moving on, are you planning to add? I mean, as you know, like when you're in a battle, when a hero starts struggling with a walker, most of the time they will die if you can't save them. Are you maybe planning to add like a talent or an ability to the hero that actually allows them maybe to fight off the walkers when struggling? Maybe an exclusive talent to the melee class survivors?
It's a really cool idea. We've had, if you've ever played our other game, next game's other title, The Walking Dead No Man's Land, then there is a trait in that game which is the wrestler trait. And the wrestler trait basically means when one of your survivors gets into a struggle with a walker, when they've run out of health, they'll have a certain percentage to deal damage to that walker, potentially killing it. And I think it's an interesting idea. Currently the melee survivors are quite strong in our world anyway. They have the cool thing that you can do with the melee survivors is that because they go out there and get ahead of you, if you can bunch up a big group of walkers around them and throw a grenade, then like that's bang for your buck as far as the grenade is concerned. It's possible. It's not something we're planning. I'm gonna be totally honest. It's not something that we have in the plans at the moment, but it's not out of the question, I guess.
Okay. So another interesting idea could be, since we have the grenades as a nice weapon type or like an extra weapon, what do you think about adding new varieties of grenades? Like you have a stun grenade that maybe stuns walkers for a couple of seconds, and when you upgrade it, maybe the duration increases. Or maybe like a silent grenade that you throw and it only there is no sound of it, but it still damages walkers and they can hear you, so you can get like an advantage before the battle starts.
A little bit of a silencer perk on there. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see new grenades in the game, particularly the Molotov. The chance to catch walkers on fire, or do something to the walkers with the the kind of splash damage from Molotov would be awesome. At the moment, we aren't planning new grenade things specifically, but I would love to see it. So I hope that we do that in the future. Introduce more grenades, or not necessarily just grenades. I'd also like to see more weapons generally in the game. I think that there's an enormous amount of potential for us to add in more variation to the combat by adjusting the kind of weapons that you use or so forth, like a grenade launcher or something. That'd be amazing. But we'll see.
Alright, so next up, so any possibility of having the 50% coin sale on upgrades in the future? I mean, that was pretty cool, and I know a lot of people right now are stacking up. I've seen people with 40 card upgrades, but they're just waiting for the coin event to upgrade their cards. And also with this, any plans to maybe discount the ×7 pack that gives you 7 leader packs? Another sale? I mean, Black Friday is coming, so
Black Friday
Christmas is coming, it's like...
keep your eyes out on the Black Friday sale. We're going to be doing some good stuff there. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but keep your eyes peeled. What was the first question? Sorry.
It was about the 50% coin sale.
Yeah, it's an event that I'm sure we'll be seeing in the future. It's not coming up soon, so if you are hoarding, then if you're getting near your cap, you should probably just go ahead and upgrade those cards, or upgrade a few of them at least. But that's not something we have soon. We will probably do that event again in the future. I'm not ruling that out, but it's not in the coming weeks.
Okay. And just this is gonna be like I just came up with something.
Yeah.
So what is the maximum player level right now in the game? I've seen like people like Sandman who's like level 22, but I believe isn't it 30 the maximum level?
The current level cap is 30. Yeah. Okay. I don't think that we've got anyone who's like too close to that at the moment. Sandman is the player that I've seen people sharing pictures. I guess it was Sandman himself who took a picture of his.
Yeah, I've seen it as well in Pogo Squad.
Yeah, which is incredible. That's a massive achievement. He's I guess the highest.
But level 30 is the highest.
Level 30 is the highest you can get.
And obviously upgrading those, because Sandman has a lot of their commons and rares maxed out, so that usually gives you a lot more XP. And I know at level 22, for level 23, I think you need over 2 million experience. That's quite a lot of XP to get.
It is a lot of experience.
I mean, you guys maybe have done it on purpose, because obviously you don't want to like introduce new level caps every update, and it's kind of like...
I mean, it's a conscious decision to have the level cap be where it is. It was... at one point lower, but we made it as it is.
I mean, it's nice because
we don't want people to just hit the level ceiling and then feel that like upgrading your cards becomes a kind of crappy experience if you don't get the XP. I was at the level cap. I've been playing with my my account since launch, and I hit when we had the level 15 level cap, I hit the level cap, and I was kind of feeling a bit bad about it when I upgraded my cards, because I wanted to you know, to see the experience go up basically.
Yeah,
But
and
like you see in most video games with an experience counter, the higher you get in experience, the more you need to get to the next level.
yeah. And also because now you have the level up gifts, free gifts, and bundles coming up as well. That's really cool as well.
That was a good day though,
That was a lot of, especially people
really
suddenly
like
getting
that.
to level 18 and getting like level 18
yeah.
rewards, like 18 flares all of a sudden. Whoa!
Exactly. Yeah.
Bunch of gold as well. Like
I had energy I had a lot of energy, but I used it quite quickly because I went a bit.
I got like 800 energy and like 2000 gold just like that for some reason.
Yeah, it was good. The flares as well. That was nice.
And also, speaking of level cap, what is the level 20 is the maximum level for all the cars, include all the rarities, including legendaries, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you know legendaries. There's
I believe so. None of mine are sadly quite at that level yet, but
because a lot of the people, it's really hard to get legendary. So do you? I mean, at this point, there's basically no chance that any player will get close to maxing out a proper legendary. So highest one I've seen so far is Sandman's level 8 legendaries, which power level of 205.
Yeah, which is incredible.
And I think I've seen a picture on Reddit, actually the one I posted with level 20 warrior assault rifle. I'm not sure if this is legit, but it's.
I'm not sure
if it has like a million and a half damage. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean the weapons get powerful, and if they're on the same level, then the legendary weapons are going to be just massively more powerful than their counterparts. Part of the power level of weapons is dictated by the talents and the mods. Well, I guess the talents are for the heroes rather than the weapons, but the talents and the mods are the things which really make a huge difference. I would take a weapon which was fully modded over a weapon of a different rarity that had a higher power level, if the mods were advantageous to that situation. Okay, so Payne's just showing me the
I just showed him the picture.
With, what is that?
I mean a level
1,405,000.
That maybe it could be actually no. Assault rifle, they don't have that much damage though. They're not like
I mean the thing with the damage and that you have to take into account when you look at screenshots like this is that the damage is not according to like an overall scale. It is per shot, exactly. It's damage per second. So
that's a pretty high damage if it's damage per second. You can basically
it's
destroy the bait and get 2 million points straight away. I mean, it might be possible because a level 20 you basically spending quite a lot of, if you actually ever got this one, that's gonna be a lot of cards and coins to upgrade. So obviously level 20 should be really OP anyway.
I mean when you're getting it to the top, you want your weapons to be powerful. It would be very sad. I would be really sad if I powered
especially
up one
legendary.
of my weapons.
Especially legendary, right?
Exactly. Yeah, if I powered up one of my weapons and it wasn't just crazy, then I would be a bit sad about that.
And it's not just like the legendaries being like having like 8 perks or like they just also have more damage overall once they're upgraded to a certain level.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just not the legendaries like having. It's not that they're just legendary because they have a lot of perks. They just have also a lot more damage overall when you upgrade them.
Exactly, that's a big advantage. Obviously, the perks like the like mods and talents. But yeah, the legendaries are just more powerful basically, which is the reason that they're legendary.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, why did you choose Reddit as an official communication platform as opposed to like making a new forums maybe for our world?
We wanted a platform that was open and social and that people were already kind of familiar with. The forums, like we have forums with our other title, No Man's Land, and they're great. I think the forums have an amazing community. And it's a really like tight-knit community, but we wanted to make a platform, one which was easily accessible via mobile. So forums have a little bit of a problem with mobile devices. They're usable, but they're not optimized for a mobile device, whereas Reddit has a specific mobile app. It's optimized to be used, on mobile phones. And also we wanted to be able to reach a wide group of people, basically. And we did some research, and we kind of just made a decision that we thought that we could have a more open community and a more accessible community if we used Reddit rather than forums. Partly what we want is to have players not feel like the Reddit page is something which is us just owning that. We want people on Reddit to feel some ownership over that platform, and I would also love to hear feedback if I know that there are some people who do want a forum, some people are very happy with the Reddit. I'd like to hear feedback on the Reddit itself. If a lot of people have kind of feedback on how we could improve the Reddit, if they want something, because there must be a reason that people are wanting a forum. Maybe it's just because some people like forums. But if there's something that we're missing on the Reddit that you guys think we should have, then kind of let us know, and we can do what we can to adjust that.
Okay. And now
actually, one thing, if I can ask a question.
Yeah.
So recruitment is kind of interesting on Reddit. It's something which Reddit, we each week, Zbot, who's one of the moderators on the Reddit, he creates a recruitment thread. One went up today because we're recording this on a Thursday. The board's opened about an hour ago, and he creates this every week. And I've seen some people complaining that the people go in and they downvote other groups' recruitment posts, which is a bit of a problem with Reddit.
You can moderate that, really.
It's difficult to stop people downvoting other people, but I would like to hear people's opinions on. Some games have a Reddit specifically for recruitment, where you can go and recruit as much as you'd like, or maybe there are some limits and we can set some moderation around that. But I would like to hear people's opinions on, outside of the game, how can we improve recruitment? Because at the moment we have a lot of recruitment going on Facebook, a lot on Twitter, a lot on Reddit. People want more people for their groups, and we're aware of that. And if anyone has any kind of suggestions as to how they would like to recruit, then we would like to hear that.
Okay. Moving on, next question. Why do rare and epic crates disappear during events? Is this working as intended, or is this like a glitch or a bug?
So the reason, Payne's talking about the Season 9 events here, so when specific characters take up house in rare and epic infestations. And the rare and epic crates is an unfortunate byproduct of making more epic and rare infestations. So epic and rare crates and epic and rare infestations appear on the map in the same spots. So unfortunately, when we make there be roughly 4 times more infestations during those events, most of the spots, or I don't know how many it is because unfortunately I'm not an analyst, but we are obviously looking into this because we would like it to not happen. Ideally, we'd like to give you the Season 9 missions and epic and rare crates at the same time. Unfortunately, at the moment, the Season 9 missions take away many of the epic and rare crates, and that's an unfortunate byproduct of the event. And we are aware of it, and we are trying to fix that. But for now, if we want to make more infestations appear on the map of epic and rarity for the Season 9 missions, then we sadly have to sacrifice the crates for a few days.
Okay. And one final question is regarding again guilds and players. Are you planning to allow players to message each other? And also, is there any possibility of having a global chat in the game, maybe for recruitment, for assistance, especially for challenge help? Because a lot of people go on like Facebook and Reddit to look for help.
Yeah, I can imagine global chat being an interesting recruitment tool. It's something that we've thought about before. We know that a lot of other games with a kind of social element like our world has with the guilds or the groups and the boards have some sort of global chat and messaging system. I think first we're probably going to have to nail the chat in groups themselves. If you've ever used them, you probably noticed that some of your favorite emojis don't work, and I for one really would like to see the kind of just in group chat improve quite a lot. Maybe global chat is something that we move to in the future. Obviously, it's a little bit problematic as a concept because it requires some form of moderation, be that automatic, like an AI moderation, or be it an actual person doing said moderation. I think it's something that we'd love to see. It's just something we're going to have to work out. You know, how would this work if we were going to put this into the game? Because we'd want it to be something players could use to organize and communicate, like you say, not something that people would use improperly, basically.
Okay. Cool. All right. That's all the questions we have for you today. Plenty of questions over there, and yeah, a lot of interesting information. Do you have any final words to say before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. If you have any other feedback, then Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the our TWD Reddit page. Come leave your comments, basically. And yeah, thanks a lot, Painwalker.
Right, it was a pleasure doing an interview with Sam over here. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, see you all on my next video.
Alright, thanks.